Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about the JoinByName operator in DIVEX, and this example is written in a language called Composition Language 1, and you can try this example in the browser using this link, which I will be putting in the description box of the video. Okay, so here in the main method I define two functions. The first function is called do2actions. It takes two action parameters and it executes the first action and then the second one. The second function is called disable user in system. Basically it's supposed to disable a certain user given their ID in a system identified by this address parameter, right? And this address parameter is simply a record defined here. Okay, so in this method I'm simulating that by simply writing to the console the fact that we are disabling user and then the user ID in and then the address. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm injecting disable user in system as a value for the two action parameters of do2actions. So here I'm doing partial application to fix the value of the address parameter of disable user in system. So if I hover over the open bracket here, this function takes user ID and returns nothing because the address has been fixed, right? And the same thing here. I'm doing partial application to fix the address, right? So now if I look at the signature of disable user 0, it takes two parameters called user ID. This parameter is bubbled up from this function here, right? And the second user ID parameter, this is bubbled up from the injected function here, right? Okay, so DIVEX functions can have parameters that have the same name, and usually you need to deal with this in two ways. If these parameters need to be specified separately, then you need to rename them. So here I would do something like this. I would go and say I want to rename the user ID parameter to user ID for system1, right? And then rename this parameter here to user ID for system2. If I go again and hover over the disable user 0 function, now I have two parameters with different names, and this means I want to vary them differently, right? Now the other way to deal with this is to say, basically I don't want to vary these parameters differently and they should become a single parameter, and this is where the join operators come into play. So there are multiple join operators in DIVEX, but this video is about the JoinByName operator. And JoinByName allows us to join parameters of a function by name, and this will create a new function that has a single parameter of that name, and the value for this parameter will go to all of the parameters of the original function. So here the disable user function, it builds on the disable user 0 function, but it joins the user ID parameters. So to use the JoinByName operator in Composition Language 1, I simply call join over the function and then pass the name of the parameter I want to join. So if I look at the signature of the disable user function, it only contains one user ID parameter, and when disable user is called, the value we pass here will be used as a value for both of these parameters, right? And let me show you how the JoinByName operator can be used without Composition Language 1. Okay, so disable user 2 here is similar to disable user. The difference is that this syntax is simpler, right? Now you can use this syntax from C# without Composition Language 1, and this syntax is only available when you use Composition Language 1. Okay, so here I'm calling the disable user function, passing 13 as the user ID, and if I run this example using Ctrl Shift and X, here it's disabling user 13 in this system, which is server1.demo, and the second time it's disabling user 13 in this system, which is server2.demo, right? Okay, so one interesting thing about the JoinByName operator is that it can join parameters with the same name even if they don't have the exact same type. So let me give you an example. Okay, so here I have defined a function that takes an int a parameter and a long b parameter, right? And it prints those to the console. Now what I'm doing here, I'm renaming the b parameter to become a, and then I'm joining the two a parameters, right? And then I'm invoking the resulting function passing 4. So after renaming, to show you, the signature of the function becomes int a, and long a returns nothing, right? And after joining the two a parameters, the signature will contain a single a parameter. The type of that parameter is integer, and let me show you. So here we have a single parameter of type a, and what happened is when we used the JoinByName operator, DIVEX detected that we have two a parameters. One of them is of type int and the other of type long, and it detected that the type int is assignable to both these parameter types. So we can implicitly convert int to int, and we can implicitly convert int to long, right? And this is why it chose to have the new parameter of type int, right? So if I run here using Ctrl Shift and X, here it says a is 4 and b is 4. Okay. So in this video I talked about the JoinByName operator, and in other videos I will be talking about other join operators and other DIVEX operators. So if you would like to learn more about DIVEX, please subscribe to this channel, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. Okay, thank you for watching.